Hello, little lovely. I am. Hello. What's that? What's that? Making a video. I'm making a video. Yeah. You don't know what a video is. I'm in a good place today. I'm in a good place. Emotionally, and that's. Where are you going? He's just disappeared. And I wanted to sort of make this video about basically just everything that's going on with me. I mean, I'm broken and all of this stuff, and disjointed and in a lot of pain, but I'm okay. Leave. I'm feeling more myself every day, and you know, I feel as though I know that there's gonna be another takedown of my well-being, and I really just I'm sort of fed up. That's a mental stress that weighs on me, is that every day I feel like the next thing is going to hit and it's going to knock me back again, and I've just recovered again, and so I'm sort of feeling relaxed and I'm feeling happy, but at the same time I'm feeling very kind of I don't know, what is the word that I'm looking for? Anxious. So basically I feel like a lot of these topics I have to sort of have a topic, and so I've sort of been falling into the YouTube trap of watching a YouTuber that I watch and kind of jumping on a bandwagon of like the hot topic that's trending, just to sort of spark something in my head, rather than what I'd originally planned this sort of channel to be, as a sort of a record of my recovery, and just a diary, a vlog, basically just a video log of me. I watched Vsauce actually the other day because they demonetized one of the minefields, which was nice, so it's free now, and it was on isolation, and so I saw Michael. Hey Michael, Vsauce. I saw Michael doing the isolation challenge, and I thought, that's basically my life now. I had a lot of time. This is a self-imposed. His was a self-imposed. I have more stimulation than he does, for sure, in that room. But it wasn't really a true isolation tank. It wasn't a sensory deprivation tank. It was an isolation room. So it's as close to prison as you'll ever get, a guy like that. And at one point he opened the door, and I thought, that's another thing that he doesn't sort of factor in. I mean, good to be honest, being forced into isolation is completely different to choosing isolation. You see, in one you're in control, in the other you're not. And when you're not in control of your own life, when someone else dominates your life and puts you in a situation, a crucible, against your will, it's designed to hurt you. And there's no love there because you're not in control. So therefore you're not in control of how the environment is going to mold around you. It destroys you. I was speaking about this to my mum the other day, and see, the thing is, she's an alcoholic, and she's an abusive alcoholic, and when she drinks, it can be really bad. And in the past, what she did was she would use the phone as the tool to sort of beat me. So she would always just threaten. It would be for nothing as well, and it would escalate. I would get really scared and my head would freeze up because I've been in that position. I mean, I'm 36 now, and I suppose all of the things that have happened to me, but I still remember the first time police took my liberty and freedoms away from me on someone else's lie. And it was a night out in my hometown, and I'd hit on this guy's girlfriend and not realised it. He was the club bouncer, and he just threw me on the ground. Out of nowhere, I'm just standing there having a drink, friendly, quiet, good as anything. The bouncer of the establishment grabs me, forces me on the ground, and then calls the police. When the police arrive, he just said, causing a disturbance, I had to do this, that and the other. And by this time I'm screaming, get the fuck off me, and I'm really irate. As soon as the police took over, that's it. I was, in their hands. And I thought, how horrible is it that someone can just make a lie up and just have you arrested? Just a lie, that's it, nothing more. The bouncer was in a position of power as well, so the people in the club backed him up, so they backed the lie as well, and he knew that, and that's why he did what he did, and that's why he knew he could get away with it, because he knew that the lie would be upheld. So all he had to do was, everybody around was going to be confused and drunk anyway. All they're going to see is a bouncer grabbing someone, throwing them on the ground, and then making up a lie, and then the other bouncers go, yeah, that's definitely what happened, even though it's not. And of course that's how history gets rewritten, and that's how people get put in prison. But what I also realise is that the police are not there for keeping the peace. They are there for vendettas. They're there to hurt people, and they join the force because at some point somebody hurt them, and then they wanted to be the ones to be the bullies rather than being the one that's bullied. And they took the low road, and then they took the low road to power, and they put on their little Superman suits and stuff like this, walk around policing people, telling people what they can and cannot do against someone else's, or at least society's, idea of rule. And again, just like the guy in the club, that was a microcosm, a club in a town that I'm no longer even living in. But in that club, that bouncer had the power, and he took a dislike to me, and then everything around that manifest into him hurting me. The next story, there was a newspaper article on me, and it was just a smear. Like, none of what happened, and that was it. My name had been ruined, and I was at 18 at the time, and I realised if it's that easy to just to do whatever the police are in a position of power. Society is bigger than that club, but it works on fundamentally exactly the same principle. If we don't like you, we're the ones in control. We'll make a lie, create a smear campaign, and ruin your reputation and ruin your life. And when you are the victim, when you are a victim of that kind of abuse, all of a sudden you realise that the police are not your friends. They are not your friends. And honestly, anybody who still uses the police you're a horrible person. I do believe that we could work things out ourselves, but more importantly than that is how the police take vendetta. Vendetta is so much different than peacekeeping. See, vendetta is basically like well, I mean, you know what a vendetta is. If you don't know what a vendetta is, then, you know, Google it. I mean, maybe I should find my dictionary, right? I'll try and I'll find my dictionary. No, I can't find it. It's in a box full of boxes. Hello, lovely. So, I was just thinking about that, and it's riding me up because it's horrible when you're a victim of that kind of smear campaign. And it's horrible when that kind of event happens to you, because you start to realise that society isn't really governed by anything except a few people who kind of know how to manipulate the system, and some really good friends who are willing to lie to get what they want. And good friends who are willing to lie about stuff are the worst people, because they'll know they're doing the wrong thing, but they're good friends. They are the kind of guy, and you hear it all the time, my friend is the kind of friend who's going to help me bury a body. Well, no, you know, my friends are the kinds of people who don't commit murders. My friends are the kinds of people who don't commit rape. My friends are the kinds of people who don't commit these kinds of atrocities against other people because of some kind of mental fucked up derangement in their head about being gods and being better and being this, that and the other about their existence. And that's probably why I don't have any friends. No, I'm not going to help you bury any bodies. I'm not going to help you lie, and I'm not going to help you cheat, and I'm not going to do any of that. I will not be your lookout. I won't be your fucking... If I see you committing a crime, I won't do anything, because again, I know what it is like to have your liberties taken from you. So a friend of mine today was arrested, and he sent me a text. So I called him and I said, are you okay? And he was a complete mess, as you'd expect. He'd just been in the cells, and the cells, any cell, is a mental torture. It's a mental torture. It's designed to be a mental torture. It's designed specifically to hurt you mentally, as a human being, as a primate left of what we are, and it's designed specifically to just kill your spirit. Don't do that to anybody. If you're the kind of person who puts on that uniform, my only advice to you, if you're the kind of guy sitting there thinking about joining the police, don't go and do something better and more productive with your life. If you're wearing a uniform while sitting this, or if you're in you're in some kind of force like that, can really do consider suicide. I mean, like, I have no respect for you as a human being. When I was young, I used to believe that the police were there to help beat the bad guy. When I started to realise that the police are not there to help beat the bad guy, that they're more than happy to beat up a good guy as long as they have a reason to, as long as they can get away with it. And that's all they care about. They care about their vendettas, so they keep their little records, meticulous records, and then they hunt you down, they track you down, no one can escape. Cyberbullies and stuff like this, and it's after a while it's just like, no, you're horrible people. You're horrible people. What you're doing is you're infringing on other people's lives as much as anybody else. And this is why I know that all of the empaths out there who say that they're empaths are not empaths, because they do not know what it is like to experience that kind of pain where they will put someone else through that pain. So you never do anything to anyone that you wouldn't do to yourself. So, my mother is an abusive alcoholic. My mother is this, that, and the other, but she's my mother. Now, you cannot expect someone to be as kind to you as you are to them. And that's basically the dichotomy of our relationship. She is nasty to me. She always has been. When she has a drink in her, it can just switch, and it's scary. Because someone that you really, really love turns into this kind of complete and utter monster, and it's upsetting. It's so heartbreaking. That said, the amount of time she's abused her power against me, when the police tried to get me to actually, I mean, I had a woman's, I was sitting there with bruises on my arm from where she'd hit me with a kitchen stick and like a broom handle, and I had this person saying, tell me what happened, tell me what happened, and I'm just like, no, she's my mother, you fucking stupid, get the fuck out of my house. Like, I could be covered in bruises from head to toe and I'm still not going to dob her in. I'm still not going to... Why? Because I actually do understand her pain. Now, I know that this is a typical trap. Now, people would either paint me out as a narcissist or my mother out as a narcissist in the relationship, or codependent and this, that and the other, and all of the pseudo armchair psychology bullshit that you hear. Stupid people. I did some ayahuasca and now I'm fucking psychological no, just fuck off. Go back to your fucking hippie circle and smoke dope or something, right? Stop trying to psychoanalyze people, right? You are not allowed to do that. Yeah? It's so fucking offensive. But regardless of that, you can look, oh, it's Stockholm Syndrome, she's just it's no, she's my mother, she's 60 years old, and I've been into cell. Now I hurt her and she hurt me, and we've always been at odds with each other, and the way people tell it is, finally she called the police and we sorted that problem out. We stamped that problem out once and for all. But what you did was you engaged in the wrong act to the wrong heart, basically, and you ruined your reputation. There's now no way, any way you will ever convince me that you are the good guys, because you don't uphold any good or decent values at all. As police, you are the scum of the earth. Some police officer said, I'd rather be punched in the face than spat at. Being spat at is the worst crime. And that is why I spit in police officers' faces. This is why I spit in their faces every time. I won't punch one, I'll spit in their face. It's why they calculated that being spat in the face is as bad as being punched in the face, because they would rather be punched in the face than spat at. But I have zero respect for police officers. That's why I spit in their faces. Yeah, you're not protecting our country, and you're not protecting anything other than certain people who are rich enough to have a paid gang of thugs who are just out for blood whenever they fucking get told, oh, there's a victim over there, you can bully them for a while, and go on, you can do that, and then we'll create a nice little justice system, and we'll just, you know, it's just horrible. The whole thing is, in a way, I sort of wish it was a feudal monarchy, because at least back then you knew that, you know, if you were on their side, then you were part of the problem, but if you were not, you were not. But now they've got it so fucking twisted that they'll believe, and you know, you don't give a fuck, you know, oh, the Roundheads are going against the Cavaliers. Good, I hope they both kill themselves. Do you know what I mean? Like, I just want to live my life normal, happy, in peace, in harmony with nature and the life and the love and the earth and the universe. Yeah, I do not care about your fucking petty fucking machinations of Godward and power. You fucking cunts. Kill yourselves. Like, go onto that battlefield and fucking kill yourselves, and I hope you both wipe yourselves out. Yeah? That's how I feel about it. And oh, you would have half the thing, blah 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 blah. I'm a student of like life. I may not be a fucking super genius like Elon Musk going to Mars, right? So it doesn't mean that the things that I do have any less value to me in my life. I still read books for the value of reading books or something like that. If books hadn't been invented, if the wheel hadn't been invented, if technology just never really happened, right, I'd be a monkey swinging in the trees, right? And one way or the other, yeah, this technological progression doesn't mean to say that we can actually just ignore the underlying problem that our constant need to justify our bad actions, the narcissism of our own actions. See, because the thing about it is and more, I hate talking about narcissism now. I really want to get to the end of this conversation in my head, so this might be a long video in that sense. Yeah, all of those fucking YouTube. I feel like narcissism is my Gamergate. Do you know what I mean? Everybody on Gamergate. Narcissism. Everyone's a narcissist. Everyone's all of a sudden an expert on fucking narcissism, yeah? All it is what it comes down to is not just how people see you that's important. It's how you see yourself that's important. And you're gonna do whatever it is you're gonna do. You're gonna make shitty YouTube videos. You're gonna put out propaganda that this cluster B personality, this pseudo-scientific revelation of that, this complete and utter garbage is so important. And it's not. Practicing narcissism is the worst thing. Yeah? Self-love is one of the worst things you can say to someone. Learn to love yourself before someone else can love you, because basically what they're saying is no one loves you, and you know you've got to love yourself because no one loves you. While posting pictures on their Facebook of like, oh, you know, a friend is someone who loves you when you forget to love yourself, while in the same breath telling people that they don't like, that they've got to love themselves before anybody will love them. And it's the most abhorrent and horrible thing ever to do to somebody. And the thing about people like that is they're now mainstream. They're now like kind of accepted as norm. That behaving badly, as long as you can get away with it, is acceptable. And getting away with it just means that you're on the right side of this wall that they built, right? And so you can get away with any kind of crime you want because it's all being forgiven, yeah? And on the other side of the wall, nobody is forgiven for even the littlest of things. Like, even the slightest of things is then met with extreme prejudice and force. And this is exactly why the whole societal structure as it is now broken, basically. Because there's no sense of empathy. You've got a lot of empaths saying that they're empaths because they've been the victim of some kind of abuse. That makes them an empath. But what makes them not an empath is this is say the rule book, yeah? This is the rule book of narcissism, and they're like they become a victim of narcissistic abuse or whatever. Maybe they kind of understand that what happened to them was a narcissist who had attempted to hurt them and did so, and then they take it on board. Well, now I've got the rule book, I'm going to use it against anybody I want, especially narcissists. And I see a lot of fucking Facebook groups who encourage shitty behaviour. In fact, one person believed she was an empath, yet for about 100 posts, every single fucking post was, I love making people hate me. I love to make people feel hate. No, you're not an empath then. You're not. Because if you've ever experienced what it is to hate, then you're lost in yourself. Like, I hate myself sometimes. I really do, for the things that I've done in the past to myself and to my mother. And that's it. I'm genuinely serious. Like, I used to be able to justify the things that I'd done to people in the past and be like, I'm sorry, I deserve that, and after a while it's like, I didn't deserve that, and you realise, no, I don't care about them. Yes, they're sipping champagne on a beach somewhere, laughing about how they fucked someone over and how that they were the good guys and they dealt out justice, but what they did was hurt somebody and then walk away and have absolutely no feeling at all whatsoever. And yeah, you just get shit people, basically. They love putting on their old Superman suit and playing hero. And unfortunately, the worst thing about all of it is you've got people who genuinely believe, and I spoke to this one guy, and he converted to Islam from being a fucking BNP member, and I was like, you're a fucking idiot, basically. Okay, move past the fucking idiocy. He's sitting there going, oh, I know I've fucked up, but I could just do one thing right and then it would all be right in the eyes of God. And you're like, that's basically how narcissists operate. That's basically what narcissists believe. But cause they really do just bet everything on that one thing, that everything is going to work out for them. You know what I mean? So they'll just be shitty people all their lives. But they'll wait. And it's like they're opportunists. So they'll be rapists, murderers, fucking hardened criminals, really nasty people. Remember, hardened criminals are people who have been put through the system and made into those criminals, right? But then they'll be like, they'll see an opportunity and it'll be, a man maybe beating a woman up, and this is my chance to virtue signal, and they'll step in and they'll virtue signal and they'll punch the man in the face, and it'll be like, I've virtue signaled, I'm now the good guy, and everyone's like, yeah, you're the good guy, yeah, you're the good guy, go good guy. It's like every single person who puts on a fucking police uniform does that. They go, I know that I'm a bad person, I know that I'm a shitty human being, I'm gonna put my Superman suit on and pretend that I'm a good guy. But then they're not even doing that now. They're sort of like accepted that they're the bad guys and that they are just paid thugs, and they kind of like walk around with this kind of smug air around. Yeah, what are you gonna do about it? I've got a bigger gang than you. I'm got more toys, more fucking. Do you know what I mean? I've got a better organizational force than you to actually be able to do anything. And all it is bullying. It's playground bullying, and it's playground bullying that's more serious because the effects are even worse. And when you create a society that's basically as broken as that, there's no way of fixing it. It's now fucked. So it really is up to the individual, unfortunately, to sort of go off and try to find that fabled hippie trail. But the fabled hippie trail is now filled with heroin and shit. I mean, the fabled hippie trail had been slowly just devolving into drugs for years, you know, and now it's just a fucking shit creek of fucking heroin addicts and just justifying their own narcissism of being this shitty people. So yeah, the hippie trail died fucking years ago. The antithesis of it is Burning Man, where again you just get a lot of like narcissists who are kind of like grouped together to sort of like prove that they can kill someone legally, burn them alive, get away with it, because they're all in on it. And it's like, what you do as a society is abhorrent, it's wrong. Just on a fundamental level, you could never call yourself an empath if you engage in any of that kind of shit. An empath, to their detriment, feels things. People say I should cut my mother off, stonewall her, grey wall her, do this, do that, do this, pick up the narcissist handbook and throw it, become the monster. But remember, victims can't be monsters. We're just fighting back. But here's the thing. The whole thing about it is self-defense. In self-defense, let's take it to gun level straight away. And just say, if someone pulls a gun on you and you pull a gun on them, and it's a stalemate, but they want to pull the trigger, and you don't want to pull the trigger, then they're going to pull the trigger, you're going to die. Right? If at any point you want to pull that trigger, you are not an empath. You are not an empath. Okay? So stop calling yourself one. If you're going, use the grey wall, man, like, just grey wall them, cut them out of your life, move on, get onto that hippie trail, do that ayahuasca, dude, and like, oh yeah. No, you're not a fucking empath, because what you're doing is, you're doing the same shit that people like that do all the time. You're going, if I read in my book, if I do this, that'll hurt them, the way that they hurt me. You're not an empath. You're not. The thing about the mental fatigue of actually dealing with this on a daily basis is knowing that, yes, I could be as bad as them. In fact, the way my name has been smeared and muddied and the lies being told about me, it surely, definitely could be as bad as them. The things that I've done in the past, just out of erratic behaviour. So one of the things that the police like to justify, they like to consider themselves to be a black and white force, but they work in shades of grey. And one of the things is say you do something, throw a bottle or something like that, right? And it accidentally hits someone. You can be arrested for assault for negligence of something like that. Do you see what I mean? It's fucking retarded. You could be standing next to someone and you could shout at them, and that can be now considered assault. And the whole online thing also is horrible, where someone will say something, words, and then now the Metropolitan Police are saying that they're going to track down these people and bring them to justice. Well, here's the thing. That's the lie. That is the biggest lie there is. Just the numbers alone is impossible. There are 70 million people. In London alone, there's less than 35 to 40,000 police to police a capital city of 9 million, 11 million last count, maybe 12 now. 12 million people. 12 million people are controlled by 40,000 people with an ego complex and a god complex, that they get the right to bully you. But everybody else is so disjointed. Everybody else is so busy just doing whatever they're doing, rather than coming together to form a cohesive unit against this sort of thing. Anytime they do, the other team, basically, they're more prepared. They're more prepared, they're more organised, and they've had more practice. So 40,000 people is a big fighting force, really, especially if they're all armed. And they're armed with the best weaponry. So, 11 million people are not that much. They're soft targets. Yeah? That's how they keep the population in control, because if it is shooting fish in a barrel, I encourage everybody online to be as slanderous as possible. I really do, because ultimately it comes down to they cannot arrest everybody. What they're looking to do is try and make examples of people, and that's the worst kind of bullying there is, because what you're trying to say is, you better not do it or we're going to take it out on them. So, and somebody then pays the price for somebody else's crimes, but then don't make that sacrifice for nothing either, because they're going to do it. They're going to try and bully you into submission, but just do it. That's an insightful thing to say, but words should never hurt. Words do hurt, and the reason why words hurt is because of things like, they say, oh, I only like you as a friend, the whole friend zone joke, right? And it's like, oh, they hurt me deeply. Like, words can hurt you. How you deal with the pain is what proves to you as a person, like, the kind of character you are. Like, I'm hurt. How do I respond? Do I lash out and hurt them back? Or do I actually take what they've done, and use it as an experience, and use it as a way of growing and becoming more than you are? It's a difficult path to walk, because you've got to walk the talk. You can't just talk the talk. You've got to walk the walk as well. And I spoke to someone the other day about 4chan, and they were like, oh, you're an edgy. I was like, oh, I'm edgy, you alright? And they were like, 4chan's not what it used to be. I was like, yeah, fuck, man. I mean, 4chan was never really much at all, right? 4chan was just a sort of a shithole where you went because you've kind of been ostracized by society, And then they formed a grand plan and took over in 2017. Donald Trump. They did it again. Damn you, 4chan. These fucking autistic motherfuckers. And yeah, I mean, I think it's strange because I can actually kind of understand my own body as well. So I know that the way that the nerve is trapped in my neck, like I said, kind of it's trapped sort of here and sort of like that. And I can feel it in my brain when someone says something and it's sort of offensive, that the right part of the part of my body that's kind of able-bodied sort of goes, shrugs it off, because it's water off a duck's back. The part of my brain that's damaged, the kind of the nerve that sort of runs down here and sort of struggles to sort of keep up and sort of like, fuck, and it's very difficult to shrug off because it's in my head, it's like basically like a snapped elastic band. Yeah, there's just like two edges trying to kind of reach, and sort of like I can raise my like right eyebrow, but I can't raise my left. Do you see what I mean? And it's like a struggle. Like I can't do it. There's the whole left side. I can do my right one, but I can't do my left one. My left, right, and that lifting my left side is based on the primary side, my right side primarily being the strongest side, kind of lifting both. So the right side is doing the work for both sides basically, and I just can't. I have no muscles in this side. They just don't work anymore. It's really fucked up. Anyway, not that I had a stroke or anything. That's the worst thing, like actually experiencing and having a stroke and feeling your entire face kind of, and then kind of waking up the next day and everybody just kind of laughing at you and sort of saying that you were a bum, and you go to hospital and you go, nothing's wrong, and they do an MRI scan on you, no, nothing's wrong, and you can still feel like your whole body kind of got like that, and you're just walking around and like, no, you're fine. That's when you know you've had a stroke, because people stop caring about you. People genuinely just don't care about you. That's why with the what I've got left, absolutely just there's no fucking quarter. Like the fact that the left side of my brain is completely fucked now is just, and then I've got no help. I could dwell on it, it makes me angry, but then they know that, and that's something that sort of triggers me. So I sort of going through this sort of, it's like muscle memory in a way, because you're just like, you just kind of go over it and over it and over it, sort of try and trigger yourself. That's sort of aversion therapy or whatever. That's kind of like how I dealt with 4chan when I stumbled upon it in about 2000 something or whatever, 2007, something like that. And yeah, it was offensive at first. I found it really offensive, and then I just kind of like, no, I'm gonna I'm not gonna be offended. I'm not gonna let myself be offended by this kind of stuff. It's puerile. Obviously the sort of like, don't you wish you were having this kind of sex with, oh, you wish you were having this kind of sex. That kind of stuff sort of grated me, because I'm like, being trans, being kind of like, in this sort of like broken state that I am, any sort of normality is something that I strive for. So it's like waving normality in my face is kind of like, it is, don't you wish you were normal? Don't you wish you were normal? And it's like, I wish that I hadn't had a stunted development. Yeah, I definitely wish I hadn't had a stunted development. I genuinely wish I didn't have brain damage. I really wish I wasn't as fucking hardcore as because I'm sitting here watching myself on TV. TV. I'm on TV. I'm on YouTube. I'm not even on YouTube. I'm just making a fucking vlog. Looking at myself like, this person doesn't seem to be mentally ill or deranged. And it's like, I'm just fucking practiced. I'm just so good at lying about how I feel to people, because what they want to see is this, hey, everything's alright, everything's great. And it's like, I've just got used to be like, yeah, everything's great, everything's fine, like, yeah, I'm having a great time. And it's just like the right eye carrying the left eye. It's like, yeah, everything's fine, look, everything's fine, everything's fine, see, I'm normal, everything's fine. It's like I can kind of blend in with the normies, right? It's like they don't believe I'm fucking got like any kind of mental health issues, and then the people with mental health issues, they're the ones who are sort of dragging you down, because they kind of hate anything that's sort of even irregular. Do you know what I mean? It's the autistic kind of, the autism in you. It's the autism in me. Instead of fucking retardedness in me. Instead of fucking I'm so fucking retarded. Yeah, it's just that part of me, of my brain, that doesn't work, you know? And it's just like, fuck, I wish it did, you know? It's just like, don't you wish you were normal? Like, you, duh. Don't you wish you had normal sex? Duh. Don't you wish you had this? Don't you wish you had that? Don't you wish I had that? And it's like, after a while, you just think, these people really care about what I do and don't have, to the point where it's like, oh yeah, they're bullies. And the thing about bullies is they're constantly constantly trying to fill this sort of emptiness in them. I think it's because they've never really had to struggle with anything. So they've never had challenges in front of them to be set. Like, you know, everybody has their own level of difficulty, right? My level of difficulty is really fucking difficult. For me, a good example on that level is I've just really want to make a video about it, so I will actually later after this. I got a game for the Switch that got Thimbleweed, and it's a fucking great game. It's such an amazing game. It's a callback to like all of the fantastic 80s, 90s Lucas Arts, fucking Monkey Island, Day of the Tentacle. It's got it all. This game is so good. I'm just like, it's beautiful. It's a beautiful game. I absolutely love it. And every now they've got a hint line in it, and you call it up and it gives you a hint on stuff. And it doesn't really berate you the way that the old games used to. The old games used to be so nasty about it. I remember Broken Sword 2. If you did something wrong, he'd go, wrong, 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 wrong. It's just like, he'd do that all the time. There was no fucking break in it. Like, you accidentally click look instead of use. Wrong, 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 wrong. Fucking hell, mate. Calm down. Those games used to punish you. This game doesn't punish you. It's really quite... It holds your hand. I mean, it's got the hint line in it. It's got a hard mode and an easy mode. And I still get stuck. I still find myself calling the hint line and going, what the fuck do I do here? Oh, of course, yeah. I was going to do that. Or, oh yeah, I thought that. And then the old games, they were just so dodgy. Like, you do it. One of the puzzles in Broken Sword was the goat and the thing. And you'd walk, and then the goat would hit you, and you'd fall down. And you had to sort of drag something like a broken farm machine into the middle, and then the goat would get snagged on it and something like that. But it took me for fucking ever to figure it out. And it was so difficult because it was timing. You had to do it timing, and then onto timing. You had to get the right thing, and then you had to get the right thing, and then once you did it, you had to click another thing, all before the goat hit you. And it was just like, what the fuck do I do? I don't know how to do this. You call the line, and it was like, £1.50 a minute, do you know what I mean? And press 1, and you're like, you're fucking Jesus Christ, and it's punishing you just to playing a game. It is so indicative of life. We all struggle on different levels. Like, I was watching PewDiePie the other day, and he's doing that, the game with the Putin. This easy game. He's fucking struggling in that game because that game is so pissing hard. He makes it look easy, but that's with practice. He's now so practiced at that game he can make it look easy, and even then it's still hard, and it's still chucking shit at him. It's chucked a bucket at him last time, and I was like, what the fuck is that? A bucket on a string? How are you supposed to do that? It's just stupid, and it's just punishing you. So right now he's in a really difficult place, and he's the kind of gamer who's like, no, if I can't figure it out, I don't want any help. And that's the worst place to be in a game, because you're cutting yourself off from the kind of the people around you. One of the things actually about Thimbleweed that's really fucking great is you've got each character. You can play several different characters. It's such a fucking ingenious idea. They did it with Day of the Tentacle and stuff like that, but this is just fucking I should make another video on this, but like, it's such a good amalgamation, because like, you know, you use one character and then you switch to another character, and that character has the item that you need, so you go to the other character, and then that character gives you that item, you know, and then it's like, oh yeah, fuck me, that's, and you know, meanwhile PewDiePie is sort of stuck in this sort of echo chamber of his own fucking mind, and it's like, I will do this without anybody. And it's like, okay, we get it, like, you're a great gamer, you can do this without anybody, but like, the enjoyment of life and the enjoyment of games is to share it with people. So if you're a human being, if you consider yourself to be an empath, but you are still exercising these kinds of really, really nasty, ingrained societal ways of beating people down mentally and physically just because one time someone did it to you back and you want to get revenge, you are not an empath. Yeah? If you are cutting people off from the enjoyment of life just to prove a point, just to fucking prove a point, yeah, you're not an empath. You're like, oh, we'll have a party, but we're not going to invite that one person. Yeah, because everybody else is so saintly. Oh, they're the goody two-shoes, or they're the evil, whatever it is, and it's just, you're like, you're horrible, horrible, horrible people, nasty, horrible people. Like, you're not on any level empathic. You don't fucking feel anything other than your own fucking self-righteousness about how you believe you have the right to impose yourself on anybody. That is so important. You cannot, especially as a feminist, you cannot fucking be a woman. No. I'm not gonna even hold up this idea that, like, as a feminist you can be a hypocrite as well. Like, because I always held up the ideas that you can hold contradicting opinions. Like, the Donald Trump fiasco is a very good example. It's like, you can be a feminist, you can be a woman, and you can still vote for Donald Trump, because why the fuck are you going to be voting for Hillary Clinton? It's not black and white. It's shades of grey. So you can't go around reading 50 Shades of Grey and fucking talking about how rape is bad and how touching my leg is bad and how doing anything that I don't like is bad, but everything I do onto you is totally fine. You're not an empath, you're a fucking monster. Yeah? Like, any woman, well, a man, but I'm saying in particular women, because it seems to be this sort of idea that women are this kind of like a privileged, underprivileged underclass of people. This is the kind of idea that this fucking feminist rubbish is putting out. These women are fucking downtrodden, rape culture this and fucking bollocks. Man, it's like you're sick in the head. And believe that rape is bad, but still believe that going out and diminishing other people's lives just to prove a point is okay. You are not a good person and you're not an empath. Like, you're not. Okay? If you keep your dog in a cage at home, not an empath. Okay? Stop calling yourself one. You're not. You're not a fucking empath. And I hate that people will even just the use of it now. It is another thing that narcissists do. They'll fucking even take the mantle. And I think a fucking really good example of that would be when they tried to clone Superman and he became Bizarro, right? He got the super suit on and everything, but he's not Superman. He's Bizarro. And Bizarro, right? You might look the part, but you are not the part. You're not the fucking thing, yeah? Like, you might appear to be like, oh yeah, you know, here I've got my fucking fancy YouTube subscribers and all of this shit, and I'm just gonna sit here and talk about being an empath and how I've got all the rule books to being an empath and how to beat the empath at their own game and stuff like this. It's like, you are not an empath. You are the most transparent kind of narcissist that I've ever seen. And I done ayahuasca and I realised, like, fuck off. They do ayahuasca, like, really just want to fucking trip the fuck out and get away from everything. I do not want to be around you. Yeah, I don't want you. Do you know what I mean? It's like, I've watched these people's videos. I subscribe to these people's videos because it's important to be informed about other people's opinions and views. Doesn't mean to say I agree or aspire to them. Yeah, one of the, I'm not going to name names, but one of these particular empaths, like, using all of this terminology like unsubscribe from my channel, unsubscribe from their lives and stuff like that. It's just like, unsubscribe from your own narcissism. How about that? Like, really, truly. I hate to go Lord of the Rings, but my precious. So when I'd just come out, I was 27 and I came out as trans, and I came out at a time back in 2007. It was a difficult time for me, and I'm facing a lot of internal problems and a lot of strife. And I sat in front of the mirror and I sat there on my own and I agonized and I felt consumed, and I just punched the mirror, and I just punched it, and I cut my finger here. I cut it and it just sliced open, and I was just like, fuck. So I bought this ring as a sorry to myself for doing that to me. Do you see what I mean? That's self-love. And it was just, look, I am really sorry to me for doing that to me. I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to do that. I really broke myself. And in a way, I'm glad I did it. And in an even bigger way, when I did this, I did this for so many reasons. Solidarity with other people who self-harm. This is the first time I ever really cut myself with a razor. Did it to mark a day of shame in me, not just about what happened with my assault, my sexual assault and my assault, but how I responded to it, how I reacted to it, and how it was very much like sitting in front of the mirror again back in 2007, hating everything about what I was and just completely just smashing that image, basically destroying that image of me, and tried to build another one, a better me, to improve, to change, to evolve, to become better, and what I consider to be better, not what you consider to be better, not what society dictates that I should become, what I decide I become. I decided a very long time ago, before my accident, before any of the things that really happened to me, I decided a very long time ago that I was not going to take the route that's commonly travelled by people like me. And you hear a lot of this kind of talk online, where power usually becomes sexual deviancy very early on. But after being a victim and several times during my life, having witnessed my mother being raped, knowing that a lot of my friends had been through the same experience as well, I was not going to let those kinds of the sickness kind of feelings of desires in me manifest and take over. And I decided to walk a different path. I decided to walk a path where I at least tried to be something different, better than I was. I realised very early on in my life, after being assaulted, as a child, and one of the things that will always grate me, always upset me, what kind of overloaded my brain, I just couldn't understand how someone could be so heartless, but realised that actually the reason why they were so heartless is because they were nasty cunts. It was like a 9-year-old, I broke my jaw. I'm going to say this so many times. I broke my jaw, and I was 9, and he was like, "Oh, good, you probably deserved it." And I was just like, even now, when I think about it, it kind of hurts me here in my jaw, and it hurts me here in my head, because my head is thinking, he's fucking retarded, and my jaw is going, I didn't deserve that. And I looking back at my life, the things that I do feel like I deserve, like karma. But I was 9, and no, I didn't deserve that. Obviously, I didn't deserve that, and neither did my mum, and neither does any victim of sexual assault. And how people are gonna deal with that is they are going to always say, "Oh yeah, it's you deserve it. You deserved it." And I had one woman kind of justifying her rape. It's like, "Oh, I totally needed it. Oh, I totally needed that experience. I realized that in my shavasana, and I was totally realized that I needed to be raped to evolve as a human being." They're like, "Oh, fuck off." I was 9 years old when I realized that I didn't need that to be who I was. I definitely didn't need that. I don't need that kind of mental scar in me at all. Thank you very much. Like, I don't need that kind of hate in my life, and I didn't need that to evolve as a human being. Like, the kind of person that I am would have just grown up to be the person that I am, minus one fucking sexual assault, which would have been good. I never really spoken about it until now. Like, I've never spoken about any of my assaults in my life. I'm growing up. I'm 37 now. 36. I'll be 37 next year. And in my life, I did not talk about this. I did not start talking about this until about a year or so ago, when I realised that I had been through so much. Nobody had experienced it except for me. And I had not told anybody about any of the stuff that I had been experiencing. And everybody had built up this image that I was just this sort of whatever, that they built up the image of me. And so when I started talking about it, they didn't care. Like, they supposed that they knew better than me, that they supposed that they knew this, that, and the other. And I realised that was a moment when the whole victim blaming thing, the culture of victim blaming in general, is not even victim blaming. It's disbelief as half the time. I told my story to a couple of people on 4chan because it was easy. It was anonymous. I don't believe you. I was like, okay, because you're anonymous, it's easier to take because you're anonymous. But it's the fact that you don't believe that happened, but yet it did. And it's horrible. It's like, I think, the kinds of levels of sexual assault, very minor, to a bit of groping, to, brutal rape. And I think that men, they kind of think, if it's not brutal rape, it's not rape. But that's because they really do only think about it from their perspective. They don't see it from another perspective. Like, you could have done something to protect yourself. No, I couldn't have. I did my best to protect myself. Whether that was going inwards to my head, like inner space, whether it's actually fighting back, tooth, nail, got scars on my fists from where I punched, and I've, grazed the whole fucking bone and shit like this. Just, you fight back as best you can. You can protect yourself as best you can. We have cars, we have trains, we have walls, we can build these things, but ultimately, when someone has it out for you, they're gonna get you. It's a game to them. It's like a game of chess to them, and you're the victim. And they're just out for blood. I starting to realise, a lot of everybody grows in different ways, but I'm starting to realise, actually, this is a good thing for me. I've grown as a person. I definitely didn't need that experience, but
nothing, like my opinions haven't changed. Like being raped didn't change my opinion. Do you see what I mean? I think that's what the goal is. I think this is the idea of narcissists and empaths similarly. One of the Black Lives Matter, right? Black Lives Matter. The only way a white person will ever understand what's going on is slavery. I'm sorry, I did that really wrong. But yeah, it just gets more and more retarded as they go on. No, someone doesn't have to be through slavery to understand that slavery was wrong. But I see fucking white people kissing black people's feet in the street, and it's just like, no, fuck off. Like, America is so fucked, like, in so many levels. When I see these fucking weak people, like, genuinely kissing the feet of some black guy, yeah, because they're guilty about something that their ancestors did, I'm like, fucking hell, you are stupid. Do you really think that the black people in Africa cared at all about the slaves that they were selling to the white man? No. And that was black on black slavery. Do you really think that the Eastern fucking Europeans and the Scandinavians and the Vikings and all of the people that we call Europeans for years were fucking enslaved by Rome? Not for 400 years. 400 years. Fucking 1,000 years nearly. I mean, how long did the Roman Empire actually last? Where they just literally just raped and enslaved every fucking nation they could. And England was one of them. I don't go back to Rome and go, you should feel sorry about what you did back in the fucking 1700s, fucking 700s. When Rome dissolved in about 400 AD, something like that. So yeah. Before Jesus was even born, my people were slaves to the Roman Empire. Fuck. Get over it, man. Seriously, it was about 2,000 years ago. Do you know what I mean? That's what I would say to that person. Yes, England was fucking enslaved by Rome. You're always going to have the defenders of Rome, though. Oh, they built infrastructure and they gave us all the things that we have. It's like, yes, they did. They also enslaved us. We were slaves to them. Like, they lived in these quality houses and they used the fucking people of the country that they were invading as the workforce to live in these beautiful houses that they built. They didn't build them for us. They built them for them. And then they used us as slaves. Well, we were citizens if we could, sire. Like, you're a fucking... This is the reason why. This is the reason why I don't like you people. You're fucking stupid. I think that Mongols could have... I mean, fuck me. They could... Fucking Chinese enslaved us for fucking thousands of years until Genghis Khan came along. He's a national hero for fighting the Chinese. It's like, dude, get over it, man. It was 400 years and it was a blip in the ocean. Slavery is still going on in Africa. Go make the Africans out there kiss your feet. Yeah? You're so against slavery. Go out. Oh, you don't want to go against Coney. You don't want to go against like the really bad people, do you? They might use voodoo on you. Fuck me, man. You know, it's like... Just stop pretending like... Just because something bad has happened to you, that gives you the right to then become a bad person. Like, I have not raped or sexually assaulted anyone. Just because I was doesn't give me. But here's the thing, and I'm really gonna kind of like lay it on the line here, because if you're watching these videos and you're listening to me 1 hour 14 minutes, you know, and you're staying till the end of the video just to listen, maybe even you skip to the end and you're like, I want to just see what they're talking about at the end for some reason, whatever. Yes, that's a scar on my face, by the way. It's very slight, but it's there. After it happened, I lost respect for all women. I just hated them. Like, having a cackling little hag in the background laughing while you're being raped will make anybody hate women. Especially when you see, like, collectively how they operate. Yeah, I started to get a lot of men coming into my life at the time. This is about 2004, I think. This is just after, like, so many times I've been sexually assaulted. I can't even. I do a chronological fucking order of them all. Just like, sometimes I do that just for my own sanity, and other times I just think, no, I need to forget. As difficult it is, I need to forget. I need to bury those skeletons, you know. But back in 2004, after like a sexual assault happened, I was fed up of it. And I hated women, and the way that those men raped me, and the way that she was laughing about it as well the whole time, made me think, yeah, I want the tables to turn. I want her to feel bad as I do right now. I thought to myself, there's points during my time when I joined 4chan in a kind of Schadenfreude way of hating women and just watching a lot of abusive porn, just to sort of kind of get over the idea that other women had been through this. And after a while I started to realise other women had been through this, and it was just as brutal for them, and that there was always a puppeteer, whether it was a man or a woman. It was always a victim and a group of people victimizing the victim. And that's when my mind sort of flipped back again, and I was kind of gearing up for like this kind of like, well, I'm gonna fucking have my revenge. I'm gonna find someone, I'm gonna rape them. That's how I felt. And after seeing some videos of people being raped, some more brutally than I had been, I realised, no, how I felt that day, I really genuinely, I've seen it now. I've seen like it from someone else's perspective, you know. I was behind, you know, essentially I'd be behind the camera this time, right? I was behind the camera being a voyeur of the abuse, you know, because they filmed my abuse as well, you know. not in 2004, in 2015, you know, camera phones and shit like that. 2015? Something like that. Don't care. Anyway. But 2004, I don't know, I was just like, yeah, I didn't know about 4chan back then. But it must have been 4chan. You know, they're the only ones who were kind of like around who were like putting out those kinds of videos, right? And the internet was quite a freshly sort of new thing. So it really was just new. But yeah, it's fucked. You know. But then that fed it even more in a way, because the women have a way of being able to take their power back by virtue of being women. So they're like, oh, well, I was raped, now I'm gonna be a slut and I'm gonna really enjoy my sex now, or whatever, or I'm gonna not be a slut and I'm gonna be a virgin kind of like feminist, and I'm gonna do that one way or the other, right? Horrible. Seen some things, and it was a it was a moment where the internet really kind of shone through on its kind of its ability to be able to connect people and its ability to be able to be completely heartless, because I felt completely alone. But having watched some of those videos and seen some of those images, it's, you know, like those girls went through the same thing, and you know, seeing like gay rape. Saved by the Bell, dinging a hole for myself. But yeah, that was a moment I kind of really felt very empty inside of myself, because I kind of hated that part of myself that wanted to hurt someone as much as I had been hurt. It was definitely a moment in my life when I realised they'd almost changed me, you know? It really sort of changed me. And people, I forget, some people are not as capable of being able to deal with things, and I was insensitive a lot of the times. I have had my brain fucked with and destroyed, basically, but I'm still capable of being able to do more than some people are, emotionally and intellectually. And some of these people out there are very fragile intellectually, emotionally, and it's horrible, because essentially we're still propagating the idea that if you're weak, you're to be bullied, and we're supposed to be human beings, not animals, but we are taking on more primitive, regressive concepts, and it's horrible. Genuinely, it's fucking horrible. And I don't like them. Don't like them at all. No, we need to change society, but unfortunately it's too far gone. And the really crazy thing about it is a lot of these people could just go and start their own countries in Black Rock City and stuff like that, and fucking Burning Man. And as much as I find those kinds of events another kind of expression of humans' parasitic nature, like, it's clear that people are capable of being able to set up basically mobile cities, and yet they choose to stay in large populated areas that have nothing other than just people's hatred for each other. And it's horrible, really. I think that's where I'm going to end the video, because I could focus on the horridness, and I spoke very openly and honestly, which is very difficult. I felt very vulnerable talking about those kinds of times of, like, you know, watching those kinds of videos of like violent sex and sort of rape. There was confusion a lot of the time, especially when someone would pull out a contract and like, I consented, and you're just like, did you though, or were you just coerced into like signing that piece of paper? I don't know anymore. You know, I used to believe that it was a consensual thing, like, I'm signing this piece of paper, it's consent, it's fine, I totally want this is okay. And then at the end of it, like, no, that's not okay. Do you know what I mean? That was difficult to talk about, but I did have to explain that I had such a difficult time after that situation connecting with people. I felt so isolated, so alone. And the internet was there, and what it did is it fueled my hatred. Essentially, it kind of put it out as well, but that was on me. So that was on me. So it basically fueled the hatred that I had. But then I realised I don't want to become that hateful sort of person. I don't want to be a hateful person. That's the kind of monster that you tried to turn me into, and I almost bought into it. And you can lose yourself, and that's what I'm saying. It's so easy to lose yourself in hatred and emotion. It's so difficult, especially now. It's been 2 years since my attempted suicide, and I wish I could say that the past 2 years have been sexually assault free. Unfortunately, they haven't. You know, the suicide came after a lot of shit that had happened, especially a particularly violent sort of rape that happened. But the past 2 years haven't been any better. And of all places to be sexually assaulted, you don't think Glastonbury in England is going to be a place, but it's a witch's town, dude. It's a witch's town. Don't you know they're all married to the devil? I think that if you genuinely do believe that kind of thing, you are, you know, an intellectually stunted person, and no amount of eating soy vegan products is going to make you more intelligent. But again, you know, we're like, this is my power and I'll do what I want with it. Base level sort of kind of thinking. Yeah, I mean, you know, just don't let that pain take over. Oh, hold on. Okay.